You know, when I initially started these videos, my original goal was to just be the guy that reviewed every single goddamn Mega Man game in existence. I mean, I kind of consider myself maybe a wee bit of an expert on the series. I mean, not only is it the first video game series I ever really got into as a kid, it's also the first game I played, period, ever. It was Mega Man 3, and I remember just running straight into a Pit and Top Man stage on a shitty late 90s NES emulator. That's ghetto as fuck. So, yeah, I kind of feel like I owe a bit to this series for starting my life with video games. Now, try to act surprised when I tell you this, but as a kid, I was picked on quite a bit. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there was a lot of reasons for it, but the fact that I was into stuff like heavy metal, anime, boxing, those things, they didn't really help. They probably weren't the cause. I was probably just an asshole of like a 9-year-old, but those things, they didn't help. No. However, one time, during computer class, I managed to catch another kid, a more popular kid, which wasn't a very high bar, looking up how to beat Quickman in Mega Man 2. And I wrote down all of the bosses, all of their weaknesses, and gave them to this kid. And you know what? I don't know his name. I do not remember this kid's name. I don't even think I really talked to him outside of class much, if at all. And to make this just a little more sad, when I was 12, I actually decided this was going to be the year I threw a birthday party. So I invited all of my friends, all 3 of them, and not a single one of those motherfuckers showed up. Not one. You know who showed up? Mega Man Kid from computer class. And what did we do? We played Mega Man, like, for 3 or 4 hours before the kid went home. He actually brought me a gift too. It was like a little model Corvette. I wasn't super into cars, but I was so ecstatic to just get a gift from somebody I didn't really know. So, yeah, kid whose name I can't remember, who just showed up to my birthday party completely uninvited. You kind of made that day pretty special. So, thanks. Sad childhood aside, Mega Man has always been a big deal to me, if you couldn't tell. I attribute a lot of nostalgic memories to it. As a series, it really does mean quite a bit to me. I reviewed 1 and 2 a while back, and while I intend to review 3, it alone didn't really give me enough to talk about. Same with 4, 5, 6, 7. 8's got lots to talk about, and we'll talk about it a bit here, but no, instead I decided to jump just straight to X, kind of like Capcom did, skipping 9 entirely. Actually, at the time, they kind of skipped 8 too. Huh, weird. Now, what better time to just do it? Just review every classic Mega Man game from 3 all the way to 11. Now, the thing to remember is that all of the 8-bit Mega Man titles are of pretty similar quality. As James Rolfe said, it's kind of like Capcom were machines themselves. Pumping out a game every single year is hard enough, but with Mega Man, it was more like 2 a year, and without much loss in terms of quality. Sure, each game adds its own thing, but for the most part, stuff like the level design, music, controls, all stay fairly consistent throughout. 3, I think, added the most. In 1 and 2, there would be small crevices that looked like they could have housed some neat secrets, but just kind of don't. 3 adds in a new slide maneuver, allowing Mega Man to reach new places he previously couldn't, which not only served to hide collectibles, but also offer access to branching pathways throughout the levels. 3 also added Rush, Mega Man's trusty canine compadre, who takes the form of vehicles like a submarine for underwater action, a spring to reach high places, and a hoverboard to make tricky platforming a little bit easier. In 6, Mega Man confused with Rush to become Super Mega Man, which is the best fucking name ever. Or in Marvel vs. Capcom, he merges with all of his animal buddies to become a literal Megazord. say it 3 times fast. Mega Man Megazord, Mega Man Megazord, Zord Mega I couldn't do it. These kind of build off the items from Mega Man 2 and provide a neat organic way to give the players reason to go back to previously beaten stages. And speaking of the stages, every Mega Man game is literally defined by how good its boss and their accompanying stage are. For example, I don't think that Mega Man 2 would be quite as fondly remembered if not for stages like Quick Man or Metal Man's. They're arguably the best stages in their entire game. They're kind of the highlights. Same with Wily Stage 1, but that one's a little overrated. And while no game in the series past 2 reaches the same level of greatness, 3 and 6 still have some fantastic levels of their own. One that always struck a chord with me was Gemini Man's stage in Mega Man 3. First off, the music. Just try to get this out of your head. Hell, I'm willing to bet that if you've played Mega Man 3, you're humming this song to yourself right now. But the level always resonated with me for more than just the music. A quarter of the way through, you run into Proto Man. Now, as a kid, I had no idea who he was, so I just saw him as some mysterious red Mega Man who comes from the shadows every so often to test your mettle. And usually after beating him, you go on your way. I always liked games where your rival was some red dude with a similar skill set. Proto Man, Knuckles. I guess that's kind of it, actually. Later in the level, you get to shoot these little eggs that house, sperms, I guess. It all feels very Aliens-y to me, and as someone whose second favorite film of all time is Aliens, you can just assume that's why I love it, and you'd be right. But as the games went on, the bosses kind of blur together. 6 has Flame Man, which is the same thing as Fire Man, and 2's Heat Man. Blizzard Man is pretty similar in concept to Ice Man. You do get some out there ones though, like Skull Man, Dust Man, who, by the way, was designed by Yusuke Murata, the artist of One Punch Man. And, of course, there's the always hilarious Hard Man. Hard Man. I don't even need to describe why that's funny. I'm Hard Man. There's some good, there's some bad, but they started to really get bad once the series hit the 16-bit hardware. Now, I know Mega Man 7 gets a ton of shit. Some of it deserved, but personally, I really like it. Mega Man 7 isn't perfect, but it's the first Mega Man game that yours truly ever beat 100% without any help at all. And yeah, it kinda has a little special place in my heart, flaws and all, but it does have some terrible bosses. Yeah, 7 is when you can tell Capcom's idea wells were starting to run a little dry. You got Freeze Man, that's fine, Spring Man, Junk Man, who's just Dust Man, Slash Man, and Turbo Man. No, not that Turbo Man. Although Mega Man vs. Terminator would be amazing. It does have some good bosses, like Shade Man, who would have a much bigger presence in the Battle Network series, and also introduced Bass, because every shonen hero needs to have a third-wheel rival. Another thing that always bugged me was that each game after 3 tries to fool the player into thinking that Dr. Wily wasn't behind everything. Like, 4 has Dr. Cossack, but then it turns out Wily kidnapped his daughter to force him to do supervillain shit. Then 5 has Proto Man turning evil, but it's not actually Proto Man, but a evil robot double built by Wily. And then 6 has Mr. X, who is literally just Dr. Wily. Like, come on, man, you're not even trying at this point.
How many times do we have to teach you this lesson, old man?
At least 7 just goes right into the, yeah, he broke out of prison, go kick his ass from the get-go. Although, 7 does have the most shocking revelation, and it's that Dr. Wily has massive mad scientist mommy milkers. Sure hope you enjoyed hearing me say that more than I did writing it. Or seeing it. 8 has Wily trying to secure some sort of alien artifact, and overall is probably the best story a classic Mega Man game has ever had. And, it's kind of wasted. Ooh boy. Mega Man 8. Mega Man 8. came out on the PlayStation, which is always a good sign. I mean, look at what it did to Castlevania and Final Fantasy, games that people really like, but I don't care for the first entries in those series on that system. It also came out on the Sega Saturn, which is apparently a worse-looking, better-running version. It came out in 1997 to celebrate the Blue Bombers' 10th anniversary, and I remember being 10 years old, getting the anniversary collection and going, hot fucking damn, shit on me and call me a Sunday, this game looks fucking amazing. It was so bright, it was so cartoony, so vivid. It is exactly what I pictured Mega Man in the back of my head playing those 8-bit games. But you see, unlike Mega Man 7, which gets a lot of shit and doesn't really deserve all of it, some of it, Mega Man 8 gets a lot of shit, and it deserves every ounce of shit that it gets. For one, Mega Man 8 brought in anime cutscenes. Granted, X4 had them, but X5 cut out all the voice acting because of how poorly X4's was received. I guess they had two different teams working on X5 and Mega Man 8, because 8's got the worst voice acting of any game Capcom has ever put out. Yes, I'm including Resident Evil in that.
It might be handy if you, the master of unlocking, take it with you.
Thanks. Maybe I'll need it.
Mega Man, today we finish this.
Hey, Dad! Why must I fight you? We are not enemies!
Shut up.
But I've never seen this type on Earth. It seems to be emitting a powerful energy signature. Something this powerful must not fall into the hands of evil.
For one, Mega Man is voiced by a woman, which works in Japanese, but not so much in English. 2, Bass sounds like he's half asleep. And 3, why the fuck does Dr. Light sound like Elmer Fudd? I always pictured him sounding like Optimus Primal or something, which, I mean, thankfully the newer Mega Man cartoon got right, because it's literally just Optimus Primal.
What do you want from my lab? Who sent you?
Mega Man 8 feels like it should be good, but it's not. A lot of the time, the levels throw instant death traps right in your face, and this part in Frostman stage just pisses me right off. Every time I close my eyes, I still hear, jump, jump, slide, slide. But I mean, Mega Man 8's got some neat boss designs. I like Astro Man, and Tengu Man is pretty cool too. Frost Man looks like he eats broken glass for breakfast. He kinda reminds me of Stone Man from the Battle Network games. And then there's... What the fuck is that? What the fuck is any of that? No, really, like, what the fuck am I looking at? Clown Man. Fucking Clown Man. I mean, there's scraping the bottom of the barrel. Then there's scraping the dirt beneath the barrel. And Clown Man is like scraping the dirt beneath the barrel until you reach fucking China! Not only do I hate Clown Man, but I get the vibes that he's not allowed within 10 miles of an elementary school. You know, I kind of wonder what his Battle Network counterpart is called. You know what? No. Clown Man's fine. Clown Man is good. That's fine. That's A-okay with me. Nope, not touching that with a 10-foot fucking pole.
See you in my dreams.
But clearly, Capcom knew they fucked up, because besides Mega Man and Bass on the Game Boy Advance, this was the very last classic Mega Man game for almost 10 years. In the meantime, we got several X games, several titles on the GBA, as well as their attempt at a Metroid-like game with the ZX games. But classic Mega Man was nowhere to be found. He was completely gone, just scratched from history. Until 2009, when Mega Man came back hard as fuck. We got Mega Man 9, and for the first time ever, it was playable on everything. Wii, Xbox 360, and PS3. No matter what console you had, you could experience the rebirth of classic 8-bit platforming and lemon shooting. And Mega Man 9 is also pretty damn good. It's almost as good as 2. Almost. Gone was the slide and charge shot from 3 and 4, with Mega Man feeling more akin to how he was in the first 2 games. My big issue with this is that those things are in the game as paid DLC in the form of Proto Man, who also takes more damage, essentially serving as a hard mode. I will allow you to wrap your head around a Mega Man game with a hard mode. Mega Man already has a reputation for being fucking hard. It doesn't need a hard mode. That would be like making a hard mode in Elden Ring, where each death results in a FromSoft executive coming to your house to kick your dog and fuck your wife. Now, the ethics of locking something like charging and sliding behind a $5 paywall is a topic for another time. All that mattered was Mega Man was back, baby. Mega Man forever, Mega Man for the next 100 years. Everything about 9 harkened back to the days of yore, with hard-as-nails platforming, great bosses, and the amazing music that the series was known for. Everything was coming up Rockman, so much to the point that Mega Man 10 was very quickly put into production, and it was alright. Proto Man was included in the base game this time, with base being DLC, and they offered a new easy mode for IGN writers. Overall, 10 was good, but didn't reach the same sales numbers as 9, and didn't leave quite as much of an impact. But there was a time when we were almost in a Mega Man renaissance, a Mega Manaissance, if I may. With how well 9 did, we saw remakes of the first Mega Man and the first Mega Man X game, both on the PlayStation Portable. And we even got a game like Little Big Planet, where you got to make your own levels and robot masters. And of course, this was all topped off by the release of Mega Man Legends 3, the final game in the much beloved Mega Man Legends series. I'm of course lying about those last 2 because they got fucking cancelled. I'm not mad about it. No, I'm not mad at all. I'm just a little absolutely livid. Sadly, after Mega Man 10, Capcom kinda wanted nothing to do with the Blue Bomber. Whether or not this had anything to do with co-creator Keiji Inafune getting the boot or not is up for debate. Mega Man was, after all, his baby, but with things between him and Capcom growing ever more strenuous, the future of the series was quite uncertain. We got Mega Blue Balls right up until 2014, when the first games were compiled into the Mega Man Legacy Collection, which released on everything not named the Wii U. And that was it for a long time. Mega Man just got collection after collection, and now I would have been okay with this if they included him in other games, but they didn't. He was completely missing in action. When Capcom decided to throw hands with Marvel for the 3rd time, Mega Man was nowhere to be found. They even joked about this. Instead, looked over for Zero and Mega Man Legends Tron Bonne. But then 2018 happened. A brand new Marvel vs. Capcom was shown off at a Sony conference of all places, and would be headlined by none other than Mega fucking Man X. This clearly showed that Capcom listened. The people wanted more Mega Man. Later in 2018, they dropped what was probably the most anticipated trailer for any game they have ever made, Mega Man 11. And just like 9 and 10, it hit everything, including PC, which is a first for a main series title. And yeah, that's where we're at. It's hard to believe that with all the games in the series and how consistently they used to come out, that took over 3 decades to hit 11. Especially considering, I mean, they used to pump out not 1 or 2, but sometimes 3 games a year in this one series. But times have changed. So have we. But how is the first real Mega Man game in almost 10 years. Well, fucking excellent. Mega Man 7 and 8 felt awkward due to feeling like they were designed with the 8-bit mechanics in mind. Mega Man moved slower in those titles, and I always felt he was a little clunkier compared to his more high-tech counterpart X. But 11 feels great. Mega Man moves with a degree of grace and fluidity, and the platforming is as good as ever. Some of the bosses are a little lame, but I like that each weapon changes Mega Man's appearance now. New to this entry is the gear system, allowing Mega Man to boost his attack strength or slow down time. Mastering the gear system is integral to making it through the game and offers something fresh and new that the series has never seen before. This feels like a true natural progression of Mega Man, but it also harkens back to another classic Capcom series, Beautiful Joe, which itself felt like a mix of Mega Man and Clover's own unique styles. And this time around, we got actually good voice acting. Sure, whoever voices Mega Man is no Ian James Corlett.
Oh no! He's gonna blast President Lincoln!
But few people are. He does a good job. I can tell everyone here is actually trying, and it makes the story, as far out there as it is, a lot of fun to sit through. And they don't really make much of an attempt to hide that Wily's the villain, and oddly enough, he really isn't. For the first time in the series, you actually get to see a bit of why Wily is the way he is, and it makes sense. For once, the story in a Mega Man game is actually really damn good. Sadly, the music in 11 isn't quite up to the series standard. It's far from terrible, don't get me wrong, but it's not amazing. Certain pieces are still pretty damn good, but overall, it's still a far cry from the musical masterpieces from early titles. And it's with that we end this look at the classic Mega Man titles. Mega Man as a series has been around for over 30 years, and while it definitely peaked pretty damn early, it never truly dipped too far from the levels of greatness that it's commonly known for. Sure, there's a load of side series and there's some bad games here and there, which, believe me, I will get to them, but the classic games are so close in terms of just how good they are that it really goes to show how solid of a foundation Capcom set when making the first two games in the series. To rank each game goes a little something like this. 2 is the best, bar none. A lot of people say it's overrated, but fuck them. Mega Man 2 is just as good as you've heard it to be. But 3 is really damn close, and I would tie 3 with 9 and 11. 4 and 5 are both damn good games in their own right and share a spot. I guess 10 buddies up with them. I couldn't find another place for it. 6 is fine, and I think it's actually on par with the first game. Not amazing, but still good. 7 gets a lot of shit. But I like it. Not allowing my personal feelings to get in the way, though, I get why it gets a lot of shit. It is far from perfect. It's definitely the closest to bad a Mega Man game has been. Except for 8, which is the only game I consider downright bad. Just skip it. Don't even. It's not worth it. Mega Man is one of those constantly enduring franchises. Capcom can continue pumping out games and I'll keep buying them. Because, to me, Mega Man is more than just a game about some dude in blue jammies shooting lemons out of a Pringles can on his arm. It's a trip back to simpler times. Times when I was sick from school, or tired from playing out in the hot sun, or even to my 12th birthday when the only guest who showed up was a kid that just wanted to do something nice for somebody that wasn't even his friend. Mega Man demonstrates that there's always something worth going on. And as long as there's shit to slap the word man onto and a crazy mad scientist to do crazy mad scientist stuff, you can bet that Mega Man will always be around, fighting for everlasting peace. Mega Man is my absolute favorite franchise in all of gaming. It's been there for me my entire life. During the good times, the bad times, no matter what was going on in my life, I always knew that I could just play some Mega Man and forget about it for a little while. I even try to find some ways to slip him into my own videos somewhere in the background. But for my next video, I think we're going to take a look at another series with a blue protagonist. So hold on to your asses. I'm not saying it. I wrote in the script it's juice and jam time. I'm not fucking doing it. Nope.